my question for Soraya is colorblind casting hurting Black artists on Broadway right now?
Ooh. I love it. Oh my God.
We're doing
Last
stunts.
time it's like a whole song with like a whole thing. This is a more complicated question than I would like it to be. For a couple reasons. Because normally, like I remember when that, I think 2018 production of Death of a Salesman with Wendell Pierce and Sharon D. Clarke was on Broadway, and I wasn't particularly impressed with it. It wasn't a good fit, you know, like that play just sort of hung on them in a very strange, untailored way, if that makes any sense.
Do you think that was racial or just the production? Because I also wasn't impressed, but I don't know that I would point to
It was
to that.
no, I don't think it was necessarily well, yes and no. Like when I was considering it, or at least the way I wrote about it was there was sort of a spate of plays on Broadway that were kind of speaking to like the masculinity crisis at the time, which there's a revival of that discourse too. But specifically, I think it was kind of speaking to, because of who was cast, this sort of like Black masculinity manosphere sort of issues. I think the other plays that I ended up sort of talking about it, kind of being in conversation with that season, were there was a revival of Susan Laurie Parks of Top Dog, Underdog. And of course I'm forgetting what the third one was, but that's all right.
Was it American Buffalo?
It was an August Wilson play. It was The Piano Lesson.
Oh, yeah.
But I remember like quoting August in that essay because I don't think that production necessarily served them well. And it kind of felt like they were sort of shoehorning racism into Willie's experience of his life, you know, at work. But then the other thing was that like everything just became sort of more pathetic. I don't think it worked well.
I get that. Because when you think about, you think about just like the journey of Black people in this country, right? And you think about when Death of a Salesman is set. I would compare that play to Fences.
Right.
You know, and Troy in Fences, you know, is he has expectations, but then he also places his disappointment onto his son because of what he's experienced, right?
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
Willie Loman has these expectations of an American dream and getting ahead because he is a white man in America,
He's
right?
a little delusional.
And it maybe is a little pathetic if you have a Black man expecting this shit in the 50s.
Right, because that was the thing that bothered me, is that there was no way for, I think, Wendell to sort of wear that naivete well.
The question becomes for me, with colorblind casting, because I wrote about this recently for Frank, my newsletter, about the Antigone that happened at the Public. Antigone, this play I read in high school. This becomes sort of like a creator versus actor dilemma when you're talking about colorblind casting, because I referenced Sidney Poitier in 1965 in the Times saying, "I'd hate for my gift or whatever to be circumscribed by color. I'd like to explore King Lear, for instance. I don't want to be just an Othello or always linked to A Raisin in the Sun." You have Black actors who want to play these roles. As Viola Davis said in, I believe it was Talk Easy with Sam Fragosco, like, you know, Black actors have to learn these roles in school more so than white actors have to learn August Wilson, you know? And so they're hungry for these roles, but then...
And they're good, and they're interesting roles.
They're good,
like,
they're great roles.
If you have the opportunity to play like King Lear.
But then we sit down and watch it, and I'm like, what is this, honey?
Right.
Because it doesn't feel real to me.
Which comes back to the direction.
Yeah.
Like you have to have a vision.
Yeah.
Because I think there are instances when it does work, but I don't think that's colorblind casting. I think that's more there's a consciousness in the way that the performances are being directed and the characters are being used. If you think of something like Daniel Fish's Oklahoma, which I think works with Rebecca Naomi Jones, which I think works fabulously.
I thought
that was really
great.
Interestingly racially cast, and I feel like that wasn't an aspect of that production people were talking about.
It was great because the first time I saw Oklahoma was in high school, and it was I'm from Milwaukee, and the only Black person in the cast played Judd.
Oh Oh, poor Jen.
And I
That was
bet they were great.
terrifying.
But no, because I think it was only
Oh,
Rebecca
poor
and then
Judd.
the policeman, right, who sort of is like quietly watching this happen.
Mhm.
It's so interesting too how marketing plays into this, which I mean, I
Mhm.
think marketing is like sort of the first thing that falls off historically when we think about these productions. But I remember, I don't know if it was you or BA, but like talking about this latest production of Proof. Again, I obviously cannot speak to like what a Black experience of watching this revival is, but I don't really see a change in that revival. I mean, I feel like an actor brings something to it, and an audience member brings something to it. But it reminds me, like, I feel like they really try to play up, like, and now we're seeing Proof and how this story happens to Black people, and I'm like, I don't really know that this play is about that. And it reminded me of this sort of when they did The Light in the Piazza with not an Asian cast, but like an Asian leading family at City Center. And they really try to hype up the fact that it was Light in the Piazza reimagined for the Asian American experience. And I mean, this is kind of the thing that drove me off of Twitter because the discourse around it was insufferable. But I remember I saw it and I absolutely loved it. Thank you for bringing the goddess who is Anna Zavelson to us and Ruthie and Miles. But
Right.
I remember seeing it and I was like, this production's amazing. Let's be clear, this is not a different show. And the discourse around that was so horrible. And you look at something like what happened with maybe Happy Ending, which is a show that like doesn't inherently have anything Asian or Korean in it outside from two characters who are sort of, I mean, even they could be people, expats living in Korea. But what happens when you market a show so intensely to a demographic is that they like, especially when it's so underserved, is that, these connections are made. And once that connection's pulled out, it becomes this giant betrayal. You obviously want to reach new audiences. You want to get them in through the casting, through the marketing, through all these things. But that's a really tricky thing that I think we're discovering is a double-edged sword, because you don't also want to lean so hard into identity one way or another, because then it becomes this thing that no one really wants. No one,
You can't live up to
no work
it.
can live up to. No work can
You
really
start
talk.
bumping
And you might
up
turn people off.
Yeah,
between that, like you're gonna find that friction between like authenticity and capitalism.
Right.
And, like you have to have something like real at the center of it, or otherwise people just know that you're selling them.
Right.
But the reason I say that this is even more complicated now, and we'll see where this goes, is that Ed Bloom, who is the man who was, and the money, the billionaire who was behind, what is it, the Students for Fair Choice or Students for Fair Admissions lawsuit or whatever that basically took down affirmative action, is now like funding a lawsuit.
That's him?
A discrimination lawsuit against Wicked.
Oh,
And he did
God.
Playwrights Horizons a few months ago too.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Right.
This
and it's
dude.
specifically about, like, there's a part that was written that specified that the actor either be female or non-binary or whatever, right? And they're like suing, and it's a discrimination case. And of course, this is crazy because, like, you should very easily, I think, be able to win this and beat this back on First Amendment grounds as casting being an artistic decision. Now, it'd be different if they were just like, no white men can be part of the crew, or some other part of the show that has like nothing to do with race, right? Where race is part of the
Wizard's a cracker.
Well, there you go.
Well, I think it's
Also that, but like but the whole thing, right? This whole lawsuit is also trolling.
No, it
In
is.
a
no.
way,
I think
right?
I think it's even
Like, we
stupider as I understand
know.
it.
Can this person even act? Is it
Well,
the same person?
I don't know if there's two things happening at Wicked, but the one I know is even stupider, unfortunately, as I understand it. It's like
dear.
Wicked partnered with this organization who like deals exclusively with, I think, like non-binary people and women, and they partnered with Wicked to do sort of like a 2-week orchestra replacement gig, just like a 2-week step in and do this, and then he is suing Wicked and the
For
company
that.
because he's a cis man and he can't do this
The
like
company
2-week
singers,
gig.
by the way.
Like it's so and again, yeah, for context, like this man sued Playwrights Horizon, an off-Broadway theater who if there's anybody who can't be taking lawsuits at this point is an off-Broadway theater, because they had blackout nights,
A blackout night.
for Nazareth Hassan's Practice, which is a fabulous show, which again does not need their fucking name smeared with things like this,
Right.
Yeah, and they sued because they couldn't access
And they're
like,
saying
the
it's
ticket code for that
discriminatory.
one.
But that goes back to
Which of
marketing
course
again, right?
is not,
Because
because
you
like it
want
doesn't.
It's like
black
gag
audiences
you can
and
to
show
they
up.
settled. They settled out of court.
Yeah.
I guess
You
is the
can
best
come.
case in that.
There were plenty of white people at the blackout nights at slave play.
Listen.
Really?
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I would know. I wasn't there.
I mean, how else are they going to find a slave to play with?
Oh,
That was better than being on Hinge for some of them people. It is this question, though, of, and it comes up in movies a lot, like white shows, black shows, and it is, I think we're reaching this point where you just sort of want projects that were written by white people, especially historically, to be for white people, like for Ragtime, right?
Sure.
But Ragtime was, when it was written, first of all, E.L. Doctorow's Ragtime, like his Coal House was based on Michael Coal House, like a novel about a German man who does what Coal House does in the play. And that doesn't make sense in the time of Ragtime for a black man to be doing that, because then they would have murdered all those black people in Harlem.
Right.
You know, like there would have been a Tulsa massacre. You're really telling it through this white lens. And I think that we're getting to this space where I'm like, let white people tell white stories, let black people tell black stories. Whenever we see a black story on Broadway, it's always through like a white lens, like Ragtime, you know?
I'm forgetting the name of this Native American actor, but he did a movie a few years ago, and he was doing an interview, and the interviewer asked him, like, what's your experience as like a First Nations person in Hollywood? And he said the main difference was that when I started in the 70s, we wanted liberation, and now it's all about equality. Why the fuck would I want to be equal to a white person? I think that really speaks to like where culture was, where, I think in the 90s when August Wilson says that, there were more all black creative projects popping up. And
But in terms of like the ones that get produced, particularly for commercial theater,
maybe not Broadway, but I think of like
then it's like
certainly not
vanishing,
Broadway, but like
right?
the black, like there's a lot of TV shows, there were a lot more like investment in the culture, I think, separate from like the one sort of homogenized mainstream. And I think if we were back there, and if we were in this place where like, yes, Lena Dunham can do her all white shows as she should, a black writer can do their all black shows as they should, everyone doing their thing at the same time together for all to enjoy is different than now when we're all sort of cramming everyone together. Like,
I think I would like to be more specific, because there are a lot of playwrights who are white who write plays who aren't necessarily writing about whiteness, or at least like not conscientiously writing about whiteness, even though like is a play about whiteness.
Yeah.
I don't want us to like turn away from like integration and also the sort of artistic collaboration.
Yeah.
It's
just hard as an audience member too, because the problem I had with Antigone was that you had Haman being played by a black actor, and the play completely ignored race, right? But it was set in this world where you're talking about feminism and you're talking about capitalism, you're talking about everything but race, and so it was very weird to me, just the black person running around.
You're like,
doing
hello,
nothing.
why are we? Yeah, I think if you're gonna do it, it has to be considered. Like it's part of the equation, like anything else. And I think like the adjustments that you make as a playwright for an actor, when you know what the casting is, like that's one of the things that goes into consideration. And I think my frustration is that like I want everybody to be smarter. I'm like, if I had to read all this stuff and learn all this stuff about white people and be able to like talk about it cogently, like I'm not special. Like there's no reason why like y'all can't learn about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want to further encourage that sort of laziness.
Sure.
Because it's not that it's impossible. Like you could do it.